take a lot more than rage and muscle. Open your heart and hands, my son, or you'll never make it over the river.
Villains have been a staple in Roblox tower defense games for a couple of years now. Okay, yeah, you know what? Screw it. We're not doing that same intro again. You guys know what a villain is. You guys know what a tower defense game is. I don't need to do all that anymore. Last time I made a video like this, I talked in length about the Overlord from Tower Blitz, and why I believed him to be a very well-written antagonist for the game, despite the character not being in very much. Today, I want to talk about another iconic villain who I believe to be just as good, but for completely different reasons. Of course, you've seen the title. I'm talking about Dr. Xenon. Dr. Xenon is the main antagonist of TDX, and over the years we have been given a lot of information about her that has really shaped her character. For me personally, she's gone from just a pretty face with a simplistic motivation to one of the deepest and most complex villains in all of Roblox fiction. And I don't say that with hyperbole, I mean it. But what makes Dr. Xenon such a compelling villain?
Oh my god, Jesus Christ, that's the last time I do that. Well, dear viewer, let's get into it.
Oh my god, are we serious right now?
What, man? Don't be asking like you didn't ask a question. I simply just answered it. You can't rag on me for that.
No. I'm saying that this is just like the second time this has happened. I just can't have any privacy these days. How on earth did you even get here anyway?
Listen, man. If I said anything, you'd be mad. If I said anything, the developers would be mad. You dang well know how I got here.
Artificial God Cube?
Artificial God Cube!
How did you even make one?
Not even the devs, no man. Not even the devs. Don't question me.
Alright, fine. Since you're here, you mind helping me talk about Xenon?
Oh yeah, sure.
Are you gonna say anything, or...?
And I just fell out of a portal created by one of the worst narrative devices in all of TDS history. You dang think I have something prepared? Give me a sec to write something and I'll be right back with you.
Fair enough, I suppose. Anyways, while he's doing that, allow me to take you through Dr. Xenon's history and lore. We begin with the Christmas 2023 event, specifically the nightmare mode of this event, where on the fateful day of January 7th, 2024, John ROBLOX showed us the first tease of Dr. Xenon. All we were told about her was that she was the main antagonist of TDX, and that we would see and hear about her more in upcoming events and modes. Now, initially, people, including myself, didn't really take John seriously when it came to this statement. Previous Roblox tower defense games with lore had characters like the Overlord, the Umbra, the Nillian God, etc. All of these were ultra-powerful gods, aliens, alien gods, and other things. Credible threats that showed their power through walls of text, boss fights, and lore drops. Meanwhile, here's TDX with some random cute anime girl with robot bunny ears and whatever the like. People did not take it seriously. Not to mention that her depiction in X-Mus 2023 was pretty stock standard. Not to say that it was a bad introduction, at least in hindsight, but it was very simple. She says that she's not fond of the GDA, which we know now is just putting it lightly. That she wants us to die, and that she made the previous eradicators that we faced in the other modes, finally hinting that the original Mark I would return, and that she is having issues with her robots overheating. I guess it's a good set-off for the payoff for Endless, but ultimately this whole event was just a footnote compared to what would come in the future. The Endless update is, for me, where the game's lore not only became relevant, but also started to get more interesting. This is where the game started to do a lot of that visual storytelling stuff that I really like, on towers, enemies, and map designs. In this update, we finally got the payoff for the original Mark I's return, as we hear about how Mark I combat devastated the European division. While Dr. Xenon doesn't directly appear in Endless mode, we get to learn a lot about her creations, which in turn tells us more about her. We learn that the Eradicators aren't just robots, but have organic things inside them, which makes Xenon appear far more sinister than previously thought. We also see the Golden Towers in their designs at this point, which curiously share GDA markings as well as the markings of an X and triangle symbols, both of which were previously only consistent with Dr. Xenon's creations. This combined with some Discord-exclusive lore drops, all started to form the popular fan theory that Dr. Xenon used to be a part of the GDA, but then left before the events of the game. Already, this makes Xenon out to be so much more than just a random scientist out for revenge. She's someone who used to work on our side, but left. This naturally opens up questions as to if this was even true, and if so, why would she leave? Naturally, the next event would follow through on this. Dr. Xenon once again did not appear in the Tower Battles XTDX event. However, we get some confirmation of the previous theory that she was once part of the GDA. We also learn that she had some sort of secret deal with the Void, where she would help him and betray the GDA, although it is heavily implied and not outright stated, as it seems that Xenon would still remain in the organization for some time after. Not really big for her character, but it was another puzzle piece put in place for her. Halloween 2024 was also light on Dr. Xenon, as her role in the invasion was pretty subdued. She mostly hid in her spaceship, watching the GDA deal with the Awakened, and as the Awakened took her factories and creations for their own purposes. Again, not huge for the character of Xenon, but we do learn that she is decidedly not on the side of the Calamity faction, as we learn from the Vile Engineer that she was offered a team-up, but she refused, which led to the Awakened referring to her as stubborn and even dubbing her creations idiotic. X-Mus 2024 is where we get to really learn a lot about Xenon, and once again, it led to a shift in how her character has been perceived. The X-Mus 2024 event is all about her past relationship with the GDA, and how it connects to Frosty and the Titans of the North. In this event, Dr. Xenon starts off at first with her usual flirtatious, playful persona, taunting us, mocking us, and telling us her disdain for the Advisor. However, defeating her scouting party, she drops the act and crashes out, mourning the loss of a mysterious him character that she regrets not saving, and despising Advisor for not wanting her to practice the art of revival, and finally, completely losing her cool at the player. She then continues, sadistically telling the player how she knew Frosty when he was alive, and was tasked with finding his weakness and ultimately destroying him back in the Tower Battles era. In the present day, she revives General Selgar and has manipulated the Titan into thinking that Frosty is still alive and kept prisoner by the GDA. Selgar revives Frosty's remaining army, and the rest is history. Selgar dies, Xenon crashes out again, although she's able to get her hands on some of the crystals, and the rest is history. This event story is pretty much perfect. It does a good job of making you empathize with Dr. Xenon and suspect that the GDA may have wronged her, but it also does not justify her actions in the present. She is still a monster, manipulating and lying to an entire race just to use them for her own personal gain. It does a very good job of characterizing her as this manipulating, scheming villain, whilst also showing that she is vulnerable, unstable, and deeply broken. From this point, we don't really see that flirtatious persona anymore. Our victories against her have hit a nerve, and now she is willing to put everything on the line. The tutorial mode is what released next, taking us all the way back to the beginning. Back to a time where the GDA were locked in a seemingly never-ending war with the Void, and when Dr. Xenon was just another happy GDA scientist and commander. She trains the player, explaining to us things that we would expect on the battlefield, and has us face off against a prototype Eradicator, of which blows up, showing us that Dr. Xenon was still having core overheating issues all the way back then. Here, she seems so happy, which adds a layer of mystery to how and why she would leave the GDA. Fortunately, her next appearance would give us some much-needed answers. Enter Nightmare Mode, the climax of TDX's story. Here, we get many answers about Xenon and what she has done. We learn that Xenon learned from her experience in Endless. Apex's core accidentally summoned the Calamity. So, now, she has created something much stronger to bring about even more of them, in order to kill two birds with one stone. She wants to end both her enemies in one fell swoop, and Nightmare is Dr. Xenon's final gambit to do so. She apparently even enters the Emperor, whether that be physically or mentally, to end us herself. This is where we see how truly unstable she has become, the culminations of decades of wrongful treatment and years of defeats. She brings it all here on the GDA. The secret ending of Nightmare tells us even more, showing us the story of Dr. Xenon and Dr. Mallory, and how Mallory was sacrificed. We see Xenon while she was still part with the GDA. We get a glimpse at her depressed and reserved state within the organization, and how she led her innocent lab companion to her demise. And it is here where we see the first moments Dr. Xenon truly became a monster. I could talk for hours about how this is one of the best cutscenes in any story-based Roblox game. The music, the tone, the animations, and the voice acting, all of them are just perfect. But what this does for Xenon's character is even more so. I have never seen a community switch up on a character more than I have with Xenon here. This cutscene really puts in the work to have you absolutely despise this woman for what she has done. And yet, it also does a good job of showing you how broken she is too. You follow the story up to this point, just think of everything. Her sheer hatred for the advisor, the loss of him, and the pleas of Mallory as she begs Xenon not to kill her. This is a broken villain who has finally cracked under the pressure. We still don't know everything about Xenon's backstory, or what happened between her and Advisor, but what we do know paints the picture of a villain who is way more than just a pretty face, or someone with a cartoonish motivation to rule the world. And that, currently, is the story of Dr. Xenon in TDX. Whew! I think that's everything.
Perfect timing. I'll take it from here. Okay, so, Dr. Xenon, Mr. Nadoof Legacy. Dr. Xenon is arguably one of the most, if not the most intriguing villain in all of tower defense. I would argue really the only other person that gets talked about as much is probably Void. And I do think Dr. Xenon is better from at least what we've seen so far. Dr. Xenon is a fundamentally very well-written villain. Robin Vanderneet plays her so well, but the reason why I feel like she is so captivating is because, you know, we don't know her entire story yet. We are basically seeing the pieces of her past and why she's bad get unveiled to us as each, you know, event and mode gets added to the game. And we have enough pieces of that puzzle to understand, you know, why Xenon is the way she is, but we don't understand exactly when she went bad quite yet. We understand that she sacrificed Mallory, but she was still with the GDA even a little bit after that point because it wasn't until she and the Void started convoluting that she left the GDA. And so finding out, you know, these reasons behind her is such a fascinating part of who she is. Additionally, Xenon is tied into almost every single main game boss, and even most event bosses, she has some kind of stake in their existence. And so she's basically the root of where all of TDX sprouts from. I mean, it's why the game's called TDX. The X stands for Xenon, let's be so for real. And she is just such a well-done villain. I would argue her contemporary in the genre is EXO because they're both, you know, the seeds of each game's respective story with TDS and TDX. Just Xenon has so much more character currently than EXO does. EXO's gotten better, yes, but at the end of the day, Xenon did it first, and she's overall just such a thematically cooler villain, and she is so phenomenally well played. The voice acting that has been done on Xenon is immaculate. Anyways, I'll stop glazing Xenon. She's pretty good. Yeah, she's cool.
All in all, I think that Dr. Xenon has truly defied all expectations as an antagonist. The level of depth John and the devs are able to give her character, as well as the incredible voice acting performance and personality given to her thanks to Robin, all come together to paint the picture of a woman who is stuck in the past, endlessly chasing vengeance, even at the cost of everything and everyone close to her. It is all worth it to her in the end to avenge those she has lost. But what she doesn't realize is that ultimately, she is the cause of all of her suffering. She led Mallory to her death like a lamb to the slaughter. She feels personally responsible for the death of him, however that may have come out, and she is the bringer of her own downfall in the present. It's a tragedy in its own right, and I think that's what makes Dr. Xenon such an incredible villain to talk about and further explore and follow in the story. She is much more than a pretty face. She is much more than just a one-note antagonist with a big wall of text explaining why they're so evil. She is someone who is truly broken, taking that out, literally, on the world around her. But yeah, that's all we've really got for this video. If you enjoyed, please be sure to like the video and subscribe to both Saltz's and my channel.
See you guys next time, and as always,
Make stuff you're proud of.
However, with your army drained, I think it's my time to intervene again, don't you think?